Hi, I'm Liam. Welcome to Oxford Online English. In this lesson, you can learn about using adjectives and adverbs in English. You'll see how to use different types of adjectives or adverbs in an English sentence.
To see more free English lessons, visit our website oxfordonlineenglish.com. You can also book English classes with our fully qualified teachers who can help you with your English speaking, writing, IELTS preparation, or whatever else you need.
This is a 5 levels lesson. That means you'll see 5 sections. Each section will give you a challenge. Each section is more difficult than the previous ones. Level 1 is beginner, so if you're not a beginner, you should skip to level 2. Ready? Let's go. Look at 5 sentences. Each sentence contains one adjective and one adverb. Can you find them? Pause the video and find the adjective and the adverb in each sentence. Do it now. Ready? Let's check.
Adjectives often come before a noun, as in old town or Italian bakery. Adjectives can also come after a noun, often after a verb like be, as in it was cloudy.
You could also put an adjective after a noun using other linking verbs like get, become, or look. For example, it's getting dark. Adjectives only do one thing. They describe nouns. An adjective always links to a noun.
Adverbs can be harder to find because they do many different jobs. Many adverbs end in ly, like probably or lightly. However, many adverbs don't, like well or ever. Also, adverbs do many different jobs. They can describe verbs, adjectives, or situations.
To use adjectives and adverbs well in English, you should know how to recognize them in a sentence. If that's clear, then let's move on to level 2.
Here's your challenge for level 2. Here, your job is to put the adjectives and adverbs in the right places. You can't add any punctuation. That means there's only one possible answer for each sentence. Except sentence 5, where there's at least one more possibility. Pause the video and think about it now.
Could you do it? Let's take a look. So, what do you need to know here? There are rules for word order for both adjectives and adverbs. The rules for adjectives are simpler because adjectives always link to a noun. As you saw in level 1, the adjective either goes before the noun or after the noun with a linking verb like be. Rules for adverbs are more complicated because different kinds of adverbs need to go in different positions. Sometimes an adjective and an adverb can have the same form. For example, enough can be an adjective or an adverb. If it's an adjective, it goes before the noun, as in, we don't have enough time. If it's an adverb, it goes after the verb or verb phrase. For example, he didn't run fast enough.
This is a useful rule for adverb word order. If an adverb describes a verb, then it normally goes after the verb or verb phrase. You can see this in sentences 2 and 3. If this is confusing for you, you should learn about the different types of adverb and where to put them in a sentence. It's also important that you can tell the difference between adjectives and adverbs. Remember that the same word like fast or enough could be an adjective or an adverb in different sentences. You can't tell just by looking at the word. You have to look at the whole sentence and understand the meaning. Now, let's go to level 3.
Here are your sentences. Your job is simple. Choose the correct word in each sentence. Pause the video now and find your answers. Did you do it? Even if it's difficult, spend some time thinking about it. Take more time if you need.
Okay, let's see the answers now. Did you get the right answers? Is anything confusing? Let's see what's going on here. First point, not all adverbs end in ly, and sometimes a word can have two forms, like hard and hardly, or direct and directly, and both of them are adverbs. In sentence 1, hard and hardly are both adverbs, but they have different meanings. Do you know what they mean?
Hardly means almost never. If you say she hardly ever raises her voice, you mean that she almost never raises her voice. Hard, as an adverb, means intensely. What about direct and directly? Here it's slightly different. Both mean that you go somewhere without stopping, but they're used in different contexts. In most contexts, you say directly. For example, I walked directly over to him and told him to stop.
But if you're talking about public transport, then you use direct without ly. For example, if you take a train from Berlin to Moscow without changing trains, then you can say you went direct from Berlin to Moscow. In sentence 3, is sickly an adjective or an adverb? It's an adjective. Adjectives can also end in ly. Sick and sickly are both adjectives, but they have different meanings. Sick means ill, as in, I can't come to work today, I feel sick.
Sickly describes someone who is unhealthy and who gets ill easily. For example, she was a very sickly child. She seemed to get ill every month. In sentence 4, late is an adverb, meaning the opposite of early. Lately is also an adverb, but it means recently, and it doesn't fit here.
In sentence 5, flatly and straight are both adverbs. What's the point here? The most important thing is that you can't tell by looking at a word whether it's an adjective or an adverb. Many words can be both. Adjectives and adverbs can have the same form. Sometimes words which look like they should be related, like hard and hardly, can have completely different meanings.
Don't focus on the words, focus on the sentences and what they mean. The same word in a different sentence could have a completely different meaning. Ready to move on? Remember, you can always review a level if you need to.
So what's happening here? Can you guess? Do these sentences look right to you? They aren't. Each sentence has one mistake. The mistakes relate to adjective or adverb use. Your job is to find the mistakes and correct them. Try to think about why these sentences are wrong. Could you explain the problem? Anyway, pause the video now and think about your ideas. Take your time.
Okay, let's look together. In sentence 1, amazing is a strong adjective. You can't use very with a strong adjective. You can use really or absolutely, so you could also say it was an absolutely amazing experience. Do you know any other strong adjectives? There are many, but you could say adjectives like freezing, incredible, or delighted. In sentence 2, if you have more than one adjective before a noun, then the adjectives need to go in a specific order. The most important rule to remember is that adjectives which give an opinion go before adjectives which describe a fact. That's why lovely needs to go before small.
In sentence 3, there's a useful rule which you can use. If you're deciding where an adverb like sometimes can go, and the verb has two parts, like can, be, then the adverb always goes in the middle. In sentence 4, can you explain the problem? Let's change the sentence a little. This sentence is fine. You don't need to add people to make it correct. Why not?
Some adjectives can also be used as nouns. Egyptian can be an adjective or a noun. Spanish is only an adjective, so it needs a noun after it. With words for nationalities, words which end in an can be used as adjectives or nouns. German, Russian, Australian, Brazilian, and so on. There are a few other words which don't fit this pattern, but can also be used as adjectives or nouns, like Greek or Kazakh. So, you can say, there are many Greeks living in Australia. If you aren't sure whether a word can be used as a noun or not, then just add a noun afterwards. You can also say, there are many Greek people living in Australia. It's totally correct.
In sentence 5, you have a compound adjective, 2-year-old, which is made by combining other words. Compound adjectives are often made with a number, like a 6-hour flight or a $300 ticket. If you make a compound adjective with a number, don't add s to the other parts of the adjective. It's a common mistake. Now, let's look at the hardest challenge, level 5.
Level 5 will test everything you've seen so far. Here are your sentences. Only one of these sentences is correct. 4 have problems, possibly just one mistake or maybe more than one. Your job is to find the correct sentence and correct the mistakes in the other 4. Pause the video and do your best. Ready? How did you do? Which sentence do you think is correct? Sentence 2 is correct. The other 4 have problems. Surprised? Some people might tell you that sentence 2 is wrong because you should use an adverb, I'm doing well. However, in colloquial speech, it's common to say, I'm doing good. What about the other 4? Let's look.
In sentence 1, you should say, we went deep into the forest. Deep and deeply are both adverbs. But if you're talking about a place, you can only use deep, meaning far into. Deeply describes how you do something. Here, you're talking about a place because you're saying where you went, or more specifically, how far into the forest you went.
In sentence 3, you need to say a lone criminal, not alone. Some adjectives change form depending on whether they're used before or after the noun they describe. Lone and alone have the same meaning, but you can only use lone before a noun and alone after a noun.
In sentence 4, rather cannot be used in this way. You could say completely wrong, utterly wrong, totally wrong. There are other possibilities. Rather expresses a medium level of something. For example, if you say it's rather cold, you mean that it's medium cold. However, wrong is ungradable. It's a binary idea. Either something is wrong or it isn't. You can't have different levels of wrong. Finally,
in sentence 5, the first problem is with word order and adverb position. The second problem is that there's a double negative. Hardly means almost not, so it includes a logical negative. You can't use hardly and didn't together. The most likely correct sentence is, unfortunately, they hardly prepared for the presentation and unsurprisingly, it was an utter disaster. There are other possible positions for the adverbs. For example, unsurprisingly could go at the end of the sentence.
How did you do? Using adjectives and adverbs correctly is complex, and there are many things you need to think about to use this language to a high level. If this lesson was hard for you, don't worry. In each level, we mention topics which you need to know to understand the sentences and the exercises. Choose 1 or 2 topics and work on them. Don't try to do everything at once. That's all. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.